related. If we get to the point where we're done with talking about loot tables and we want to open up everything to other things, we'll do that. But all right, MGA, we'll start with you.
Hello, hello. How you guys doing?
I'm doing all right. What's up?
I have a question about Celestial rank. Are they gonna stay in like Mythic Loot next season as well, or are they getting like nerfed and stuff?
I mean, there will potentially be nerfs, but they will remain in the loot tables that they're currently in as of now. Yes.
Is there any plans in adding it in other loot tables as well, or are they staying the same one? Like there was this map.
I mean, they're already being added to treasure loot tables. What other loot tables are you wanting to potentially see it in?
I don't know. I'm just asking if you have any plans.
I mean, I don't have any necessary plans. Like, if we start revamping other loot tables and then I decide to put them in them, cool. It's not really what I would say is a plan at the time, but if uh, if you have suggestions around it, feel free to mention that. But otherwise, yeah, there's no exact plan. If we do revamp set tables and I decide to put it in other tables, then I'll decide that at that time. But I don't have any plan to. No.
Okay. What about White Scroll? Are they still gonna like stay in Adventure Loot, or are they gonna get removed? As I saw way too many suggestions about people not wanting them anymore.
White scrolls are still going to be a thing.
Okay, so they're gonna stay same as they were this map, or they're gonna get nerfed as well, because
No,
there is way too many of them.
as I've already stated many times, the white scroll drop rates as of this map is not going to be the white scroll drop rates going into map 6.
Okay, yeah, that's all I wanted to ask.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, see.
All right. Matorium.
Yeah. I feel like +2 mythic socket expanders should be somewhere. Maybe like adventures, mythic loot.
Okay. Why?
They just seem so rare to get, like especially like iron and stone. I just never see any.
I mean, they should be in bosses, but if they're not, that can be something that we look into. Might be what the issue is.
I think it took me like 2 weeks to get one. Just to buy one, that is, on the auction house.
Maybe not bosses. Is it Koth? Yeah, they're in Koth. That's where they're at. I mean, we could look into that. I don't want to really make +2 mythic sockets any more common than I guess they currently are. Like, if they are a little bit more common, maybe we'll look. But I do want to make sure that these remain pretty rare.
Yeah.
So we could potentially look into that.
I do. I think that's all I can think of though, so far at the moment.
All right, cool. Appreciate it.
I do. Cheers.
All right, MGA, looks like you thought of something else. What's up?
Hello.
What's up?
So I wanted to ask about if we're gonna get any nerfs on the like the mythic gems, like people having Cease Override legit one day into like Diamond and Abyss. Like, are they gonna get like the drop chance getting dropped down or something? mythic gems.
What do you feel like they need to be nerfed? I'm confused. What about the
I
question?
mean, there was way too many CIS overrides, like when Diamond and Nether got released.
Okay, so you're specifically
Maybe not
talking about-
Iron and Chain, but like Diamond and Nether, yeah.
Okay, so you're specifically talking about
Abyss, I mean.
mythic gem drops and diamond and
Yes,
abyss.
yes. Because like in Chain and Iron, I didn't see that many, and then when Diamond and Abyss came, there was like many gems. Like people having too many of them, in my opinion, at least.
I mean, I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure I already have that listed on my to-dos as far as auditing those tables, because I'm pretty sure I saw the same thing. So let me check. Yep. Yep. I'll write that down. Case. All right. Anything else?
Are clue scrolls getting any change next map? Because they're kind of useless. Like any loot change or anything.
What would you suggest? Like what is useless about clue scrolls? Obviously, like you have to keep in mind the clue scroll system is designed where sure 1 through 5 I think is what it is for the most part pretty chill as far as loot wise. Like it's not great, it's not the worst. It's depending on how much time it takes to go through those quests, but what you're really looking for when it comes to clue scrolls is that max clue scroll quest completed. So like, are you referring to that loot or are you referring just to all the other loot?
I mean, it kind of feels useless when you like open it. Like I don't think there is many people that do them. There's like lower tier players that maybe does it, but like higher tier players, they just never do them. They just throw it out and never bother to do them.
I mean, and that's fine. I mean, if they don't want to take the time to look for the max tiered scrolls, and that's up to them. I mean, what I can say is anybody who puts in the time to actually get to the max tier of clue scrolls will benefit off of that. If you would rather use that time to go into adventure, then cool. Or if you would rather do that time doing something else, cool. But I mean, unless you can get like again, clue scrolls aren't meant to be this type of system that just gives you a bunch of good stuff. Like it's supposed to be a grinding thing that if you can get the max clue scrolls, then cool, you get the max loot. If you open up the other clue scrolls, then you're getting mediocre loot that just helps progress. So unless you can give me like an example of something that you're specifically wanting to see with that, I mean the system itself is where it's supposed to be.
Okay, I just wanted to ask that. Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't see them being useful, to be honest. I would rather do adventures, but yeah,
Yeah.
I understand there's people that might want to do them or it's worth for them, but yeah.
And again, that's completely fine. I mean, I'm on the same side as you where I personally would probably rather do adventures, but there are a lot of island-based individuals who would rather do clue scrolls and who would rather do that system. Is it great? No, obviously, it's not meant to be great. If they were great, everybody would be doing them. It would then make adventures more useless. So it's one of those things where it's kind of tiered more towards the island individuals. And again, there is the ability to get good loot out of clue scrolls. You just have to grind them out. That's basically what it is. So.
Yeah, understandable. Okay, that's all. Let other people speak. Yeah.
Yep. See ya. All right, Peter.
Hello.
Oh, what's up?
Second. Okay. Do you have any? Are you guys changing any of the facility loot tables? Because I know this map, when Chain first came out, it kind of gave an insane head start, especially with nodes for Diamond.
When Chain first came out, I think you said that wrong.
When Chain Facility came out.
Okay. Okay. When you said Chain first came out, it didn't make sense because Chain comes out literally day one. So that's why I was confused.
So like day 15, Chain Facility. I know people had insane amount of Diamond nodes ready for the. Obviously, that's when Celeste came out also, so the Pulsar Max wasn't having
So
infinite rotation.
facility loot as a whole is already on my list. Yes, I mean I'm going to be auditing the next adventures tier of loot that comes from that. So keep in mind because chain facility comes out when heroic iron
Yeah.
unlocks. So obviously one of the benefits of chain facility is being able to get diamond type loot from that facility before diamond even comes out. Obviously looking at what we looked at last map, there were a few items, there were a few things that did get grinded up a pretty good amount prior to diamond coming out, giving certain people certain advantages. Is that what we want to see? A little bit, not quite in the numbers that we saw. So is it going to be audited? Is it going to be looked at? Absolutely. I've already got that on my checklist, not only to look at the next adventure loot that's going to be able to be grinded up, but also specifically admin tools. Admin tools, I feel like, were a big thing that were grinded up pretty commonly, not commonly, but a lot more than we would want to see them in the facilities. So that is something that we're going to look at as well. But yes, I do have that already on my list to audit the facility loot tables when it comes to the next tier adventure type loot, making sure that it is in a good place. It's not giving people a crap ton of gems, a crap ton of dust, a crap ton of nodes, a crap ton of spawners, that stuff. So yes, it is being looked into, being adjusted.
Okay, and I know that you mentioned that you want to make like tier 2 and 3 treasures of all kind better. Anything specifically in mind?
I've already
also-
made those loot tables. So those loot tables are already made. So people will be able to see those going into next map. I am hoping that the dev is able to make a actual GUI so that you guys as players can actually see what's in the upgraded treasures, so you can make that determination if you want to go for them. In my opinion, I feel like I did a good job with doing that, with making them relevant from not just the beginning, but all the way to the end. I also am happy to say that I didn't really make a whole lot of changes to the max treasure because I know people did already like where that was.
Yeah.
We did make some changes to it, so I'm hoping that you guys will see that. But yeah, overall, I do feel like I did a good job making sure that treasures did feel good all the way from the treasure 0 to the treasure 5. So I'm sure you guys will
And-
feel differently when you start opening them. Feel free to let me know if you have any concerns with them, but I think they'll feel good.
Did I mishear when you said you were answering another question from someone else and you mentioned that Celeste in treasures? Is that
Celeste
true?
was added to treasure 5, yes.
Oh wow, okay. Okay. And are you making, because I know like tier 4 mining treasures like the most common out of all of them. Are you trying to balance like the drop chances to kind of like make it more tiered as you go up?
Yes, drop chances have been adjusted to treasures as well. The goal is to even them out a little bit. Obviously, there's certain treasures that are a lot easier to grind out than others. So the goal with the revamp of the actual drops is to make sure that they feel a little bit more evenly throughout based on the manual grind. So this last map, mining treasures were the highest that we could see that were being opened. So going into this map, obviously mining has its own benefits. So we don't want to see not just the current benefits of mining plus treasures. We want to see it get evened out a little bit. So we want to see people be able to get more fishing treasures, be able to
Yeah.
get more slaying treasures, be able to get a little bit less. Actually, I can't remember. I think farming might have been where it needed to be. So we'll look at that. And then mining obviously was the most treasures. So nerfing
Because
that a decent bit.
I feel like almost all fishing treasures were the hardest to get just because you were catching multiple kinds of fish. But it also felt like slaying tier 4 and 5 were like impossible. I remember we slayed like 5 million pigmen and got 0. It just even though it's not exactly 1 out of a million, it just felt so monotonous to get nothing.
Yep. And again, like I said, all the treasure tiers have been looked at. All the treasure tiers, all the treasure drops. Like we looked at everything. It's all been revamped. So when going into map number 6, the goal is to obviously see a little bit more of the treasures throughout, a little bit more of the upgrades throughout. However, if you guys are noticing that something doesn't feel right, something like we've grinded this manually and we're not getting squat, I mean, feel free to make a thread. Let me know about it. We want to keep an eye on the treasures this map to see that it's in a good spot. I feel like the loot itself is in a good spot, so if we can make sure that the drops themselves are in a good spot, then I think treasures going forward will be good. So that's the goal here.
And then
But keep us
last
notified on that.
last thing, is there any change to the tier 5 pickaxe? Because that thing's kind of doo-doo.
So the goal, I know that I'm gonna have a more in-depth conversation with Duel on this. So the goal is to definitely make the tools in the treasures comparable to where they're dropped. With that being said, we want to make sure that the mythic treasures that get dropped from the tier 5 loot are better than the admin tools that you're currently able to get from other loot tables. So
Okay.
that is the goal, to make those treasures, whether it's the pickaxe, whether it's the rod, whether it's the hoe or the sword, all of them we want to make like something that, hey, if you pull it from the tier 5 treasure, like you're hyped as fuck.
Yeah.
So that is the goal with not just those tools, but also the ones that you could potentially get in the earlier treasures that drop and be like, hey, I just got this tool from this tiered treasure. Let's see what it looks like. Oh crap, this is super OP for this time in the map. Like that is the goal to try to do with those as well.
So we can see all these treasures like start of map because of the GUI, correct?
That is going to be the goal. Yes, the goal is
Okay,
to.
perfect.
I haven't talked to the dev to see if that's already been done. But that is something that I was wanting to have with the new revamp of treasures, is for everybody to be able to see all the tiers of treasures from the get go, so you can
Perfect.
have that. So yeah.
Amazing. Okay, great. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate the questions.
See you.
All right, Draxter, you're next.
Hello. You kind of
Hello.
answered part of my question with Peter's there about the treasures, but for like example, the obsidian drills and everything, are those chances going to be dropped? Because I know, especially when we got to around the demonic stage of the map, the +1 gems that we were getting off of those were crazy. Like you could get probably over 70 of them a day just by mining.
Yep. So the Obsidian drills, as well as the other admin tools, one of the biggest reasons they were introduced into the eco was the chain facility. So the chain facility itself is going to be audited so that the admin tools are legitimately admin tool kind of in the eco. Like we don't want to see a crap ton of them before we're supposed to see a crap ton of them. So will you still be able to get admin tools from chain facility? Yes. Just not at the rate that they were getting dropped before. So.
Okay, sounds good. That was it.
All right, cool. Right, J6.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. What's up?
All right, so I really can't be asked being here, so I'll make it as quick as I can. Realms changes or not?
I mean, I don't have it on my list currently. Trying to remember though. I do believe we were looking
Just
at
because you said
realms.
before about it, like whether it's an actual realm change or realm loot table change.
Yeah, give me a second. I know we were looking at doing some realm stuff. I'm just trying to refresh the memory. Ep6. I know that we're potentially looking at some realm changes, which potentially could be loot based as well. If I'm being transparent though, I don't have anything on my current list as far as like straight up realm revamps as far as it comes to the loot. So, maybe not this map.
Alright, yeah, that's okay. What about blessings? Is there gonna be more tweaks to blessings? Some getting voted? Any new ones? Which we can expect?
I don't have information on that, unfortunately. That's not going to be loot table wise, so I wouldn't have
Not
any
this
info.
map.
Not this map, right? So one of the main issues has been how far the chaotic zone is from the spawn-in
So-
point.
So I'm gonna stop you real quick, J6, because this Q&A is mostly geared towards the loot tables. So I don't want to get off topic talking about anything other than the loot tables right now. If we have time at the end of this, then we can discuss other potential concerns and other things with the team. But I want to try to keep it on target. Like I want to keep it on task with the loot tables right now, because that's really what I'm trying to accomplish with this Q&A right now. So
Alright, yeah, no worries, that's me done.
all right, cool.
Bye.
See you. All right, Zenith, you're up.
Okay, I had some questions about like facility loot tables. Is there any plans to go through that?
Yeah, I mean, somebody I know asked already about the facility loot tables.
Oh, I
know-
just joined. Yeah, sorry.
Yep, no worries. So I guess to fill you in then, so we have already talked about one of the biggest things that I'm going to be auditing from this map going into next map around facilities itself is going to be obviously when Chain Facility comes out, it's around the same time that Heroic Loot unlocks an Iron Adventure. So obviously we're still in Iron Adventure, but yet people can potentially get diamond type loot from Chain Facility. So the goal is to definitely take a look at that, audit that, make it a little bit more harder to obtain the next adventure loot so early in the grind. So we will be doing the same thing, not just for Chain Adventure, but also Iron Adventure, making sure that the loot that you can obtain from Iron Facility is, even though it's in Abyss, making sure that you're not able to just grab a crap ton of stuff, get a huge advantage from that. You'll still be able to have the ability to get the next tiered adventure stuff from those facilities, just not at the rates you were able to this past map. Same thing with the admin tools. The admin tools are usually, they start dropping around the end of Diamond Adventure. They were dropped a lot more common in the Chain Facility than we probably wanted to see. So we're going to take a solid look at those items, making sure that they're not getting dropped to the rates that they were this past map.
Is there
Um,
any plan or like note like setting like maybe a cap on the items that can be pulled? Like I know how they used to do with like old loot boxes and stuff. It was like set amount, only this amount can be pulled.
I'm not a big fan of caps personally, because to me that's like I'm just not a huge fan of those. Like
mean-
it's like I would rather just lower the chances of getting things and making it where they can still, like, you can still have days where shoot a lot more got pulled this day than the last day. I would rather have that than putting a cap on something where it's like, oh, somebody's already pulled it. Now there's no point in grinding that adventure. Like
Understand.
putting
Yeah, the only thing with that, I guess it overall like just diminishes the value of the facility, but dropping, yeah, definitely admin tools. That's what that was the main thing I was talking about.
I mean,
is-
I disagree that it diminishes the value of grinding facility. I think if you put a cap, that's going to diminish the value more
Oh, that's
than
what I
if
was.
you.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
that's what I was saying.
So,
Adding cap would, because I mean, if
Gotcha.
you have
Yeah.
people just grinding it for a week and they've like pulled all the admin items, like there's not much of a point to grind, and like just for like those chase items.
Yep. And again, I would agree that I think a cap would diminish it more than not. And so I think the goal here is just to adjust the weights appropriately where as a grinder, you still feel the benefit of going into facility because you can still get those items from the next adventure that's not unlocked yet. But you're not going to see the abundance of items from the next adventure as you did this map. So
Yep.
that is
Alright.
that is the goal with that. Yes.
Yep, sounds good. And Duel, give all black scrolls, please. I need some.
Maybe.
Give all black scrolls, please. I need them. Thank you, guys.
Yep. All right, Stevie, what's up?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
You've already touched that you want to drop less admin tools. I feel like also a problem was the sheer amount of plus ones that were produced due to mining and increasingly also those admin tools.
Yep.
Is there anything you're gonna do next or planning to do next map about the amount of +1s in the economy?
I mean, that goes into play with the admin tools and with the other items that it takes to grind those out. So yes, I mean the goal is to. I literally have it on my my card that we're going to be looking into those, and that's involving everything that goes into mining those +1s. That's the Dwarf gear, the Dwarf mask, the Obsidian drill specifically. When it comes to the Celestial perk itself, I don't feel like that's in a bad spot. I think it's really just the amplifications of the other items that you need to have as well that really goes into it. So I don't want to nerf the perk itself. I'm fine with where it's at. I think we've already made the necessary nerfs to that perk last map that we needed to. I think the biggest issue when it comes to the +1s is just the ability to mine it with the Obsidian drill and the Dwarf gear and the Dwarf mask. I think if we can make the proper changes there, especially with the facility, making sure that we're not dropping them like crazy, and honestly, I think you guys will see that just in the beginning of the map because people who have Celestial will be able to still mine potentially +1s from nodes at the beginning of the map, but obviously they're not going to have access to those crazy OP items like the Obsidian drill. So I think we're going to see a little bit more of what it feels like at the beginning of this map.
I might
before we get
just
to the
this might not be more a question than a suggestion shortly. Like I think if the tools are available, the biggest groups will buy them either way and get to the same point just by pay to winning more and get access to the same amount of +1s. There is a possibility to tie the 8th island skill into the island quests if there's time and like will to do so.
I mean, again, I'm not really too wanting to do that. So keep in mind, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people saw the suggestion about making +1s require a max gem to actually apply it. That's something that you're going to see going into next map as well. So you're not just going to be able to put a +1 on a set just to put a +1 on a set. You're going to actually need to have the max gem of that +1 to be able to apply it. Now, I'll have to double check. I don't believe that applies to like the mythics because obviously mythics are going to be a little bit harder to obtain. But when it comes to all of the other enchants, Gears 4, you're not just going to be able to apply Gears 4. You're going to need to have a Gears 3 applied in order to apply Gears 4. Overload 4, you're going to need to have an Overload 3 in order to apply Overload 4. So there is going to be some additional changes that are going to be on this map that actually play into the +1s being as valuable as they were before as well. But yeah, as far as being able to mine the +1s, again, I think that was mostly in regards to the other additional items that people were obtaining in the game that were just a little bit more common than they should have been. So I think other than that, yeah.
Okay. No, that's it.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Hockey, you are up.
Hello.
What's good?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad.
All right. What are your thoughts on the current abundancy of like systems this map and like how they kind of look like throughout the 3 adventures in Abyss? Were you happy with it? Were you not? More or less, like how did that kind of feel for you from your point of view?
Chain I felt was fine. Maybe a little bit more needed to drop. Iron, again, I think it was in a good place. I don't think it was too bad. Maybe a little bit more needed to drop. Diamond, honestly, I didn't feel like it was too bad until, like, obviously we started dropping a lot more crazy things in pay to win, and then also the facility, I think, for Diamond dropped a lot. Abyss was abysmal, I guess you could say.
That was very abundant. Yeah.
I don't like how it was in Abyss, but at the same token, like it was kind of a little bit too late of a situation to fix it. So there's definitely going to be huge adjustments for Abyss going forward when it comes to those kinds of gems, but I don't feel like the other. I feel like the other adventures did feel pretty good. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I do feel like, from an admin standpoint, paying attention to the data, that it didn't look like it was in a bad spot.
Okay. Bit of a pivot question, but now, are there any like upcoming changes to like the treasures and those loot pools into next map, or has that not even been addressed yet?
I mean, the biggest changes that I want to make, which I've already had discussions with players about, is going to be the mythic tables. I hear the complaints about gems. I hear the complaints about dust. I hear the complaints about they're starting to feel like a little bit too fluffed up with filler loot. And I hear those complaints. I understand those complaints. I think the issue right now is that we need to make mythics a little bit harder to obtain to then be able to remove all the fluff loot. I've had conversations where players are the ones who brought this up, by the way, so don't get mad at me. I'm okay with making these changes, but players are the ones saying, look, if I get a mythic boss bar, if I get a mythic chest that pops up in front of me, I want to know that that mythic chest has something good in it. I don't want to think, oh, here comes 20 gems. Oh, here comes 50 dust. Like, I understand that from a grinding standpoint, that is a bad feeling to have. So if we can remove that feeling by saying, hey, they are a little bit harder to obtain, but because they're a little bit harder to obtain, we can take out all that fluff, take out all that filler type loot, then cool. I'm down with it, especially considering that a lot of people will, I think, agree that gems are already abundant enough as it is. We don't need to add a bunch more. I think by removing gems in the mythic tables, we then bring a little bit more value to them outside of that. So it's really a change that is going to kind of help bring up the value in them in a overall stance, but also make it feel better to grind mythics as well. So when you see a mythic chest pop up, it does feel good because you know you're not going to get gems, you're not going to get dust, you're going to get something else. Now, what does that mean? I'm going to be 100% honest. That means something else is going to suck here in a little bit. This map, mythic chests are now going to have another item that steps up to the plate that now sucks. What that item is yet, we'll find out. But I already know it's how it always happens. You remove the sucky items now, something else steps up into that first place position as the sucky item. We'll find out what that item is. But the goal is to at least make it where, it feels good. So.
Okay. I have one more question. I don't take too much time for people that have their hands up and stuff. I know people complain about white scrolls and stuff. I'm not here to talk about that. My question more so is what your plan is to have as far as abundancy for them. Do you want it to be a very rare item that like one person has on like one piece of armor, or is it like more of a common-ish item? Like where do you kind of want to place that item in the loot pool?
It's not going to be a common item. I've said it in the threads that I've spoken in. It's going to be a rare item.
Okay.
If I'm being completely honest with everybody that's in this call, my mindset from a loot table standpoint is that there's enough white scrolls where you're going to want to white scroll your weapon. You're not going to have enough to white scroll your gear, which means you're going to go into these locations knowing that if you die, you can maintain your system's weapon or your system's grinding weapon or whatever, but you're not going to have enough to be able to white scroll a whole set of gear. That is the goal in mind with these drops. It is not to make them where, oh shoot, this whole alliance has white scrolled sets. This whole group has white scrolled sets. No, the goal is to where if you want a white scrolled set, you're going to have to work with your team in order to actually get a fully white scrolled set. So
okay.
I've already had that conversation with the admin team, Stevie. I personally, if I'm being honest, I personally would rather have armor white scrolls and weapon white scrolls. Whether or not that's something that can be done prior to the map starting, I don't know. But if it's not, again, my goal is to have them rare.
Okay. I know my last question, but technically one more, based on the previous question's answer. So you mentioned how you want to potentially make mythics harder to obtain.
Yep.
Is there, like, how would that kind of affect systems then? Because systems obviously can get to mythics. If getting a natural mythic boss is rare now, given that change being implemented, if it does happen, of course, won't that then in turn make mythic systems more OP then? Because I think a better way of getting it through that, honestly, than like naturally getting a boss bar.
Yeah, I mean it's a valid question, and what that means is that not only are mythics going to be a little bit harder to obtain, but heroics and godlies will probably be a little bit harder to obtain as well.
Okay, so kind of all skill in a way then of like, well, it kind of balances out by tier.
Correct.
Okay.
Systems will still be OP, like, because you're still going to have times where you get a heroic boss bar and you could potentially get a systems proc. So systems is still going to be very valuable and very OP. But in theory, with the changes that we're trying to make with the top tier down, is you will probably see a little bit less in heroic, a little bit less in godly as well, to make sure that with the changes we're making to mythics, it does balance out. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's for me. Thank you, Tater. Appreciate your time on that kind of stuff.
Appreciate the questions.
Yep.
MGA, I'm gonna skip you just because you've had a couple chances. So Baruto, you go next. Okay, maybe not. All right. Not sure where that guy went. All right. Robo Ninja, what's up?
Hello. Has true damage been addressed yet, or no?
We're not talking about damage or
Oh,
anything.
sorry.
We're talking about loot tables in this.
I'll come back to you on that. Actually, never mind.
All right. All right. Park, you're up.
Okay, I got 2 or 3 about what
Yep. Go ahead.
you addressed. But the first one, for +1 gems, if it takes a max, when you go to Gemforge, will you get both of them back if you take it off?
Nope.
Oh fuck. Okay. And then for Celestial kit start a map, will it be available straight out of Start a World? And if so, will it be changed so you get less gold and stuff like that, or no? Will it just be flat the same as it was?
None of the loot in it's going to change. And yes, as long as you have it, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to pop it day one.
Okay. Well, I was just asking because it gives 20 ingots. So I figured that's a lot of science to drop immediately.
No, so it scales
It
with
doesn't give that many ingots for chain. So
it scales with adventure map.
Okay. And then how much will the unlimited water bucket cost?
I don't know. They'll have to see.
And then my other one was the loot table for BAH. I feel like once it got to Abyss, there was like a lot of things like the armor and the dust and stuff that just showed up like every however long it came, and then it was just never bought because it was never worth buying. Will things like that be taken out of there? Because like you could probably look back, I don't think I ever saw dust or like any of the armor that came in it bought.
I mean, we can potentially, like, you have to keep in mind when it comes to tables like BAH Credit Shop, like, we do pay attention to how those are being purchased, how those are being utilized. Obviously, later map, BAH is not going to be a huge system when it comes to endgame. Like, that's just, it is how it is. I'm not going to make BAH a system where at the end of the map you just see nothing but good stuff in there either, because I don't think that's a good way to necessarily end the map. So we'll see possible end map BAH things that we can do, but BAH is just, it's one of those tables where it's designed to just have everything and anything that any player would potentially want, all the way up until X time. So obviously I know when Abyss is out and when there's a lot less casual players on the server, that not a lot of people are going to bid for it. That's understandable. But at the same token, because it happens every 15 minutes, I'm not trying to just put nothing but relevant items in there either. So
yeah, that makes sense. I was just kind of talking about, like, I kept seeing whatever the Abyss dust was called, like the Nether dust, and it was like I think 15%, but the lowest bid you could do was $1 million.
Well, that's a different issue. So I thought that issue was resolved. So the starting bid should always be low when it comes to BAH, even later in the map. Like, I get a lot more people have a lot more money at the end of the map, but the whole idea behind Abyss, or not Abyss, the whole idea behind BAH is to allow people to get things that are technically cheaper than what they could get them off AAH. Just get
Yeah.
a good deal. So I wasn't aware that the starting bid issue came back because I thought it was fixed. So that's a different issue that will be addressed so that BAH is relevant the entire map, not just at the early stages. So
And then would there be any? This isn't exactly loot table, but it applies to it. Would there be any work of the filter system? Because I feel like it's just rather tedious how it doesn't filter everything and stuff. Where I feel like it wouldn't be.
we're already working on that. If you're
Okay.
talking about like when new items get added, when new things get added, like it's already something that has been made aware to the dev that we need to try to update. So
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. Just I feel like, yeah, just
Yep.
different C's and stuff. It just got annoying.
no worries, we're working on
Uh,
that. So cool.
I think that's everything.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
questions. All right, Draven, what's up?
Hello. Are we getting an island quest loot table by any chance?
I assume you're talking about a revamp to it, yeah?
No, like the things we can get from it.
Like a way to preview the
Like
loot?
everything. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hopefully, but I'm not 100% on that. So
You should already be able to. The item that you actually get the loot in, that loot box, you should just be able to left click it to preview.
Okay. That's all.
Alright.
Thank you.
All right, back to MGA.
Hello again.
Oh,
Yeah,
what's
I just wanted to ask about the gems you said. Is it gonna affect the mythic as well, +1s? Are you gonna need to have like bleed 6 to apply bleed 7, or no?
No, as I've stated, I'm almost positive. I'll double check with the team, but I'm positive that mythics do not have that same rule because of the fact that they're going to be a lot more rare to obtain than the other gems.
Yeah, okay. That's the only thing I wanted to ask. Sorry.
Yep, mythics are going to be a lot different because again, they're not going to have the same
Yeah,
ability.
it's
to obtain.
understandable. Yeah.
So yeah.
It would be crazy to do it. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Good.
All right, Zenith back.
Okay, I just thought of a quick question because you're talking about it kind of applies to loot tables, but just adding even if it's like an item or like even like something just a money grab for like all the cash that everyone builds up because like later in the season there's always just like so much money in the economy. I don't know if you guys had any like ideas with that, if that's like an item or like
Yeah,
alliance
unfortunately, that's not a
upgrades.
loot table suggestion though. That's going to be a suggestion as far as what we can potentially add to sink money into. So that's not.
I mean, adding well, if you go for like the item side, I mean, like adding an item that is like an alliance upgrade or something like stuff like that.
But again, that'd be alliance upgrade suggestion or island upgrade suggestion like that. Like what you're talking about is ways to sink money into the eco, not because that doesn't affect loot tables in any way. Like the only loot table that would technically affect would be BAH, which I've already discussed is a different thing that we'll look at making it still relevant in the later parts of the map for money sink. But at the same time, that's what you're talking about would be definitely other suggestions that would need to be made for where to sink money into. Like what can we add to the game that you can spend money on that would be relevant and useful to you as a player or your group. So
Okay, yeah.
All right, Diacoma. If I even said that right.
Hello.
What's up?
I have a question about like science shops, specifically like the levels 2 and 3. Are the like I know you have the GUI and everything, but is the actual loot pool inside those going to be changed?
Not planning to, no.
Not planning to. Okay, I was wondering about like because like you have it upgraded, but you don't really see much in the levels 2 and 3 with like the collection chests and inner chests and stuff.
I mean, what would you
But I also
expect to
have
be
a
in there instead?
Well, you have the mini collection chests and things in the first level, but then when you upgrade, you don't see anything else. Specifically to like bots and collection chests and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think there's really a whole ton of like science shop items where you would see like a huge change in it when it goes from tier 2 to tier 3. So if that's what you're referring to, there's just not
There's
a
no
whole
adding
lot.
to that.
I mean, maybe down the road, but as of right now, with what's currently in the game, what's currently in the plans, no, I'm not aware of any like mega collection chest or mega ender chest or anything like that. So
That was just more toward like mid game, I guess. But yeah. And
I
then I
think
had a
mid
question based
game,
on
yeah, go ahead.
I had a question based on like enchants typically being added to armor drop in adventure. Like they spawn with sockets, but they're all empty. Is that ever in like sort of on the mind?
No, I wouldn't really want to put enchants on those armor pieces, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, the whole those were created that way from the get go, just as like a more
Okay.
common drop. But at
Wouldn't
the
it
same,
give Black Scrolls? Wouldn't it give Black Scrolls more of a reason to actually be used in the game?
yeah, I mean, you're probably not wrong. That is something that we could
You have
potentially do
the
down the road.
Temforge remove, which I was just referring to as Black Scrolls and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's potentially something. I wouldn't want to add it to the basic type of gear that you get because most of that gear usually just gets recycled for the sockets. But maybe Doom Cleavers, maybe higher tiered things that people will typically make into a tool or make into a set. Maybe that is something we could put some standard like basic enchants on that would require people to use Black Scrolls to remove it in order to make it to what they want. I mean, who knows? We'll see. It wouldn't hurt, but
Okay. And then one final question. No, it's another mid game, but it's on the science amplifiers. The level 2 amplifier is only found in Iron Adventure, and it's only a legendary and godly chest. Is there a way to like? I know it's more of a mid game question, but to find that specific item,
I mean, it's also in Chain Facility as well.
the level 2 is.
Yep.
I didn't know that. I was told it was only in the Iron Adventure. Okay.
Well, keep in mind, Chain Facility comes out when Iron Heroic unlocks, so it is more of a mid game thing. But Chain Facility is a place where you can get those amplifiers also.
All right.
But they
That's all
are
right.
they
Thank
are a
you.
little bit harder. They are a little bit harder to obtain, and the reason why is because amplifiers no longer affect you as an individual. They affect the island that they're claimed on.
Yeah.
So they are a
They were
little bit
going for
harder
like
to obtain.
70 million, so they're a little difficult to find.
Yep. No, I hear you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dobra.
Hello, hello.
What's good?
I was just thinking about the Slotbot loot table, if you had any plans to change it in any kind of way.
Like what? Because the slot bot gets typically updated on a weekly basis. So what specifically are you referring to? Changing it?
Let's say the chances for specific low tier items, or maybe the loot table for the Metaspin itself, because I kind of saw that mostly the Metaspin contains loot boxes, like loot box bundles.
Okay. I mean, the Metaspin contains typically like not just bundles, but also higher tiered things as well. What? I guess what is your suggestion? Like, what are you wanting to see in these types of things instead of
It's
what's
not
already
really a
currently in there?
suggestion, it's more like a curiosity, let's say, question, if there are any plans to make any changes to the slot bots.
Well, like I said, I mean, the slot bot gets changed on a weekly basis. So when new adventures come out, when new things come out, like the slot bot gets additions and adjustments made to it based on that. So when it comes to Metaspin stuff, like we're constantly updating the Metaspin to try to make sure that, hey, these are the most OP items that you want to see. Like if you get a Metaspin, then cool, like you're super happy with it. Obviously, there are a couple of things in there like the loot box bundles, which aren't like crazy good, but they are pretty good in the most cases. We also put higher tiered bundles in there, like holiday bundles. Try to put things like +1 mythic gems, other types of mythic gems. Like, I mean, in theory, we try to adjust that table on a weekly basis based on, hey, during this next week, if you get a meta spin, what would you pull where you're like, heck yeah, that's what I want, or that's awesome, or that's great. So we adjust those on a weekly basis. So
Okay, thank you. That was all.
yeah, no worries.
Have a great night.
You as well. All right, Money Note, you're next.
Hello there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Quick question. Just when you said you might make the mythics a little bit harder, would you mean by adding like a bunch more mobs to kill, or just making it more rare of a boss bar to get?
I would just make it more harder, as in a boss bar to get. I wouldn't want to increase the amount of mobs that you need to get them. I think that those numbers are fine where they're at right now. Just the chance of it popping up on your boss bar would be the harder part.
Fantastic. That's all I have. Thanks, Tater. You're doing a great job.
I appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Of course. You too.
All right, Robo.
Okay, so you know how ender pearls are being removed. Will there be anything to replace it in the loot tables themselves, or will there be
Ender
nothing?
pearls aren't in loot tables, as far as I know.
Yeah, but like, would there be something to like replace them, and would it be in the loot table?
What are you referring to? Like a grappling trinket or something like that?
Well, yeah, something like that, or like a I don't know, escape tool of any kind. Because right now, if I feel like if you just hit someone and electrify up, there's no way to actually get to them.
I mean, if we end up seeing that we need to add something like that, we definitely can look into that, but we're not looking to release this map with any sort of grappling trinket or anything like that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's my only question.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Park. Park attack. Maybe. Maybe not. All right. While we're waiting for Park to see if he actually joins the stage or not, I mean, feel free if you guys don't want to really join the stage, but you do still have like a general question about loot. I mean, feel free to put it in the chat. I have been trying to focus on dealing with the people on stage, so item name tag in the science shop at Duel.
Potentially.
Slim Chilling, I don't have. I'm still working on that audit. For this past week, I was working on really like making the treasures loot tables kind of where they needed to be. So I haven't really taken a good look at that yet. But this next week, especially with reset being on Friday, is going to be the week where I kind of dive deep into that and try to make the necessary adjustments that are needed for that loot table. I don't think making them similar to Clue Scroll loot table is good because again it's a different style of loot table. It levels up based on where we are at in the map. So like basic quests, elite quests are going to be like the main quests that you guys see at the beginning of the map. And really I'm interested to see what you say like towards the quest system at the beginning of the map because I feel like it's going to be a lot more impactful at the beginning of the map than it necessarily is at the end of the map. So I know we released that system towards the end of the map. So it was a little bit harder to kind of gauge. So I'm interested to see what you think about how it feels at the beginning of the map with the way that the quests are and with the way that the loot is versus obviously when we released it where it felt then. So Which thing on your list are you most excited about for next map? Ooh, that's an interesting question. Honestly, I'm excited to make some adjustments to the boss loot tables to see how you guys feel about those. There's a couple of things that I want to potentially do with the boss loot tables, starting with the bandit. So I'm kind of excited to see how those are received, because I know those are a little bit more interesting. Other than that, honestly, I really want to make. I really want to make the mythic loot table where it wants to be for you guys, because I know that a lot of people don't like where it's at right now. So I'm hoping that when the mythic loot table, because obviously this is how my days kind of happen at the beginning of maps and stuff, right? You guys see what's in the loot table, and you either are happy about it or you complain about it. And especially when things like, oh, godly loot comes out and it's like, oh, it's the same as it was last map. There's not any kind of adjustments to it. Or heroic loot table comes out. It's the same that it was last map. Not a whole lot of adjustments to it. I mean, I feel like we're going to see that for the most part still. There may be a couple of adjustments. Not a ton, because obviously loot is still going to feel the same for the most part. But really, when that mythic table comes out and there's no gems in there, there's no dust in there, I think that alone, just the sticker shock of seeing everything that you want to see in that table, I think that's going to be a feel good moment. So that's what I'm hoping to get from that as well. So boss loot tables aren't visible right now. God, there's so many loot tables that aren't visible right now. I can see if we can get that on the docket. Yeah, I'm not used to not being able to see loot tables. I'm used to when we make an event, the loot table's there to view. So. I mean, baby bots, they're meant to be an early game kind of thing, Doma. So I don't know what you mean by doing anything with them.
Lund 14, that was something which was brought up, and no promises for Start of the World, but we're aware of it.
Zenith more than I probably wanted to, but it's okay because I think that they overall were in a good spot. Like, I don't have it right now, if I'm being honest with you. I don't have it pulled up. I have other sheets pulled up. It would take a few minutes to pull it up. So, do you have another question, Zenith, or was that your question? Because I saw your hands raised as well. Okay, so I won't invite you. Park, are you back? No, we're just gonna dismiss him because he's clearly fallen asleep at the gaming chair. All right. What's up, MJ?
Yeah, so since nobody's talking, I just want to ask when is Prisons coming back?
Bro, really?
I preferred when people weren't talking.
Yeah, that's
No,
me too.
there is no comment on Prisons at this time.
Yeah, that's very sad, to be honest.
It's all right. Maybe one day, bro. Maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Kicking you out. All right. So here's what I'll do. We're an hour into this. It seems like for the most part, all loot table inquiries and questions have kind of been asked. I guess the main thing that I'll say around loot tables is that I will be continuing to work on adjustments over the next week. Not just the next week, but also going into map number 6. There's going to be a lot of things that I'm going to timeline out myself so that I can try to make sure that it's in a good place before it comes out during the map. with that being said, as I've always told you guys, if you do have any questions around certain loot tables, suggestions around certain loot tables, issues around certain loot tables, please don't hesitate to make a suggestion. Tag me in it. Let me know about it. I'm always down to continue to adjust these things and make them as balanced as possible and where they feel good for everybody and anybody that's grinding out these different things. So continue to, like I said, keep me on point with what we're working on. I want to make sure that it feels good, it's fun to grind, and it's fun at the end of the day for you guys. With that being said, I did have this blocked off for 2 hours. So what I will do, we don't have all the admins here. We just have myself, Duel, and Theo. I will open it up to other questions or concerns for the next 15 minutes. I don't want to...
I was just about to say, I have another hour because I thought we were going to be doing this. I don't going for another hour. If you need to step away, that's fine. But
yeah, I mean, if we're not going to focus on loot table questions, I personally don't want to spend an hour in a normal Q&A right now. I'm not mentally prepared for that.
I know your nap time's in 15 minutes. It's okay. It's okay.
I do need some food. I'm not gonna lie. I do need some food. So okay, cool. Well, Duel's gonna, I guess, hang out with you guys. So if you do have more questions around other topics, other things that you want to talk about, Stray. Anyways, I know you.
What did he leave me with? I gotta deal with him now. Okay, that's fine.
I'm just saying, I know what he's going to want to talk about. I know he's going to want to raise his hand and discuss something. And I know that I don't have the mental capacity to want to argue with that today. So if I can picture him laughing out loud right now too, which is funny. So like I said, I mean, we can discuss any other things that you guys want to discuss about in here at this point. So any topic is on the table. Feel free to raise your hands, and Duel has gladly volunteered to lead this next hour. So yay, Duel!
Yeah, I don't know about gladly, but Stray, I see your hand is up. So, alrighty, Stray, I've invited you to the stage.
Oh, hey guys!
Hey,
I heard Tater wanted to answer my questions.
I don't know about that one.
You don't want me to answer your questions. I'll gladly answer your question.
Okay, last week I was dying laughing, bro, when you called me out.
I bet you were. I
was. So, let's get into it, guys. So, what we thinking about making KO middle again?
What I will say to that is,
yep,
I definitely don't think I don't think we did a good job with Chaotic this map. I think there were a lot of issues, and it is things we're starting to address going into the next map. What I will say, I'm trying to think how much I want to say.
Like, some problems. Can I point out some problems?
I already know the problems. You're more than welcome to talk about it. But what I'll say is, at least for first adventure, we are kind of trying out a new map layout. We have a new map build. I'm making it very clear. Maps, we aren't going to be, from this Q&A, we get feedback, okay, we're going to have map changes for release. Obviously, we don't have enough time to do that in the week until the map opens. But we do have a new first adventure map prepared for you guys. The entire map is essentially like cleaned up. There's a lot more POIs. The biggest change, I will say, is neutral. I don't want to say it looks like chaotic because it isn't, but it's a giant tunnel system. The idea is it's the type of thing where you can definitely fit multiple players into neutral. And it's the type of thing where you definitely can, quote unquote, hide in it. No, not Nightmare Mine. It's I'm sure we'll do some more leaks of it, but there's multiple entrances, and I don't want to say like a yes or no, but you know, there's a possibility we can look at possibly making that like a chaotic area and then making the corners neutral. Just making some adjustments to the map we already have. But I do agree that we definitely did miss the mark with chaotic last map. The main issue just being there was no risk with as soon as you see someone appearing in chaotic, you can just TP out. I think that's a really dumb mechanic.
Yeah.
I think that
I don't mind the mechanic. I don't mind the mechanic. I just think the way you guys implemented it, it was way too broken. Like I think
No, I
spawning under
agree.
chaos is fine. It's just like you can't do anything about it since you made it underground, and it's like such a wide area that it's like one entrance. But like I still don't think like having it underground is a good idea because no one's gonna actually want to try and PvP, and like you're just gonna try and get out because realistically, if you're in an underground area, like it's really hard to kite out of there, and then it's kind of just a death trap. So there's not gonna be like any fights. Rather than like Kim Middle last time, it's not like that high risk, like because you're actually able to get out of there. But when you're trapped inside an area like that, you're just automatically dead. Of course, it's gonna be hard to get to the person when it's also inside the mine. But if someone actually wants to engage, you're pretty much dead nonetheless. So that's why I was just like, I just feel like the whole underground method is just not the way. Like I just don't like the underground idea. It just causes way too many problems, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree, and I'll go ahead and let you know. It's not like we're gonna like snap our fingers and chaotic is gonna be fixed going to the next map. But I think map 5 definitely did allow us to address a lot of problems with chaotic, and it's something we have a couple of solutions in mind for. So
yeah, I just think like if anything going into the next map, I'm really just praying that you don't make it underground again. Like I feel like there's a lot of issues with like trying to kill somebody because like it's kind of hard to get to them because there's like a whole tunnel system usually. Even if you make multiple entrances, like I still feel like you're gonna be able to TP out in time, and as well as just PvP. No one wants to go into a death trap. Like no one's gonna actively want to take a fight there. Like the whole entire time last season, there was one fight and that was it. Like I don't know. No one wants to go into an area where you're guaranteed gonna die.
The other thing I'd tell you, and all these map changes I'm talking about, they're specifically for first adventure. We'll kind of gauge feedback on that, and if we want to make changes for the other 2 maps, will have time to do that. But there's one corner in the adventure where you spawn in. There's 2 corners that are chaotic. That third corner, what we have for first adventure, we also this map in first adventure that is going to be a chaotic corner, and it is not underground. It is all above ground.
That's better at least. But also the other issue is, I've noticed that when someone gets jumped in like KO, for instance, right? It was really hard to get to them in time before they were actually able to die because it's like a 3-minute run, and by the time you get there, the person's dead and they TP'd out. That's why beforehand, like when it was a random TP, I thought it was better because like you had like a chance, but now it's not like. I don't know. Now it's not really possible. You spawn in one guaranteed area, and then you have to run like 3 minutes, and like that person's dead no matter what. Like, I mean, in 3 minutes you're pretty much gonna die. But yeah, I just don't like that. Like, whole
And
concept.
we have a lot of ideas with that. I really doubt it'll be a start of the world thing, but like we have an idea of like right by where you spawn in, there's like a portal or NPC or just something you interact with, and it'll teleport you to like a random place in the adventure just to kind of spread out players a little bit more. I'm sure that might. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, it's not something I think we're gonna perfect instantly, but there's a couple of things we're looking to add, which I think will help with that.
Also, there's an issue with no pros, by the way, that like I've ran into like a ton of times, right? I mean, someone brought it up earlier. Like, if you get electrified on top of air, you're just guaranteed out. There's no way you're getting there. Or like, let's say if someone hits you up, right, like 2 blocks or something, and you're just in an area that no one can get to, like adrenaline rush, for instance. Imagine someone adrenaline rushes up somewhere. I don't know if adrenaline rush still gets jump boost. Does it? Yes or no?
No, it got changed to shockwave just because I think jump boost is really buggy. I don't I don't like conditional jump boost just because it runs into issues like that, and that's why I look to change it. Let me know if you guys disagree, but I really do like the idea of players having like a springs enchant or something they can swap to, where it's not like adrenaline rush and it's conditional and okay, you procced adrenaline rush, I have jump boost, now the person chasing me can't chase me.
I just don't think Sky is about.
And I understand that, and that's why it hasn't been implemented.
Yeah. I think in other scenarios, maybe like if factions came back or prisons, I think jump boost would be fine, but I don't think it's like a thing for Sky, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I don't disagree.
I just feel like no pros, by the way, is just gonna be so bad because there's always gonna be that one guy that just gets hit up somewhere, and you just can't do a single thing about it. And before, like the way you fixed that was purling up there, but with no purling, like I don't know, I just feel like it's gonna cause a lot of issues.
Well,
why I thought pros was a good idea to have, or like a grappling hook, for instance, like that suggestion.
And like I said earlier in the Q&A, we're removing pearls because I hope you can understand there were a lot of issues with pearls. I think the mechanic of having to chase a pearl, it's just not a fun thing for players. If it does, it's very but if it does turn into something where players are having issues with chasing each other and we aren't able to fix that with, first we'll try like making changes to electrifying the enchants causing those issues. But if we need to just bring over something like a grappling trinket or something like that, I mean, that's always something we can do.
Yeah, I feel like pros allowed for good kiting like methods as well because I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be hard to kite without them now. Because like I don't know, you can get on top of a mountain pro in a direction that no one can see, and then you can get out. Right now, it's probably gonna be like a lot harder for anyone to kite. That's why I like pros. And like I feel like it was a good idea that you guys limited it to 8 and made it a trinket rather than like spamming pros before in the season before. Like the whole 8 trinket use was really good because like you're on a limited amount and you can't just spam them anymore. But the idea of no pros, like it's gonna be a lot harder to get out, and you can't like I don't know, you're pretty much dead no matter what. Like imagine getting bricky down like a tunnel or something. You're just dead. Like you can't do anything. Before you can maybe toss a pro and try and get out. I don't know. I just like the ideas of pros. Like I think it's good for Sky, but it's up to you.
Well, yeah,
That's
I
why
mean,
it's,
and
like no springs is also like I don't know. Yeah,
So
like
this
no
is
springs,
a-
no pros.
This is a thought, Duel. Like, obviously, we don't have to do this right now, and obviously, we would talk to the rest of the team. But in real time thought, what if pearls like still had the trinkets like you do with the health ones, but they get better over time in the new science shops? So you start.
Yeah,
with
I would
one-
like that.
You start with like a 2 pearl trinket. It goes to like a 4 pearl trinket, and then
Yeah, I
like
think
an
that
8
would be
pearl
good.
trinket.
Yeah, everyone's saying they like it. I mean,
potentially.
I
I'd need to think on it. I don't want to give a yes or a no, but
No,
I don't hate
obviously,
it.
it's just a thought. Like it made me think of like because people like the trinkets and how they're used, and it would also add more items into the science shop a little bit as well. Because when you upgrade your science trinkets, you can upgrade that one too if they still wanted something like that in the game. So
I just thought spamming pros before him was like really bad. 'Cause some people would carry 2 stacks, like I try for instance, before the trinkets were released. So I like the trinket concept. I mean, I guess people don't like a lot, but yeah, I feel just it's needed to try and kite out of a situation or to like get on top of somewhere where you're not able to get on top of usually because someone got electrified up or something or hit up. I just feel like it's absolutely needed for the game, but that's I just don't want them removed. Yeah. Hopefully, you guys can look into that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Any other questions there?
I'm just surprised we've been talking for 13 minutes with Stray, and he hasn't mentioned what he really wants to talk about yet.
White Scrolls. Well, I mean, you already know my take on it. All right, well, all right. Here's my take on it. Right, every single time I played Cosmic, something it's always gonna get common.
Wait,
Like plus one mythics,
Stray,
right? I
really
saw
quick. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to point out that Tater just said that and then instantly muted his microphone. Go on.
He wants to sit
Yeah. Dude's munching on popcorn
Alright.
or something.
I got my popcorn in my hand, dog. Like, what?
All right, my issue, right, with White Scrolls is every time I played Cosmic, right, they just became common. Like even this season, you're saying they're not going to be common. Like I trust your word on that, but it's going to be an over time thing where they're going to become common, and there's going to be no point to PvP. I hate the concept of like praying to get one piece of gear. Like even in old prisons when I played, like someone would be like, "Oh, pop a thief pet, bro. Try and get one piece." Like I don't know. I just found like that shit was so lame because it wasn't that hard to make sets. Like you can make a set. I don't know. I just don't like the idea of White Scrolls. And you're saying they'll be rare, but the people who actually want them are the people that are saying they're going to play for 3 hours a day. They don't want to remake their whole set. I'm telling them they're not going to obtain them if they're rare. So I don't know why they're for it. And the people who are pay to win don't want to see it go through because it's going to be the people who pay the most to like put them on their sets. And like for instance, imagine this one guy comes in, like DMV Dave, bro, who just spends like thousands of dollars and then he just buys them all out like for his whole alliance, and no one else can touch them. And the only way you're going to get them is by grinding. Like I just feel like the whole concept of them is just like bad overall in my opinion because there's like no in between with it. You're gonna have one person spending way too much on them and then no one else can touch them and then it's just free for them, or they're common and then there's no point to KO PvP anymore.
Well, what I'd say to that is I agree with the concern. If white scrolls were as common as they were this map, going to next map, there 100% is like a reason to be upset. The reason they were as
Yeah.
common as they are is because they were introduced end of the world. I mean, Tater's made it pretty clear that they're going to be nowhere near as common next map. And if
Yeah,
they
even End of
truly,
the world, I don't want to see it like
if
that.
yeah, and if they truly are is rare as like Tater's made it out to be, and a player manages to get a full set of them, which apparently will be unrealistic, but let's go ahead and go with that hypothetical. If a
Yeah.
player is wearing, let's just say, like 150 PayPal worth of white scrolls, I'm still gonna kill them to pop their white scrolls and talk shit.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think if it's the type of thing where you have like these big alliance fights and everyone has white scrolls and you kill 5 of their guys and no one drops anything, that's lame. There's no risk. No one enjoys it. But if it is the type of thing where it's implemented properly and you know, it's the type of thing we are just gonna have to wait and see how Tater implements this into loot tables. But I mean, I have faith in him. If it is the type of
I hope
thing
so
where it is,
too.
if it is actually rare, I don't have an issue with them.
Yeah. I don't know. I already know what's gonna happen. The most pay-to-win people are just gonna obtain them, and then like no one else is gonna touch them unless you grind for them. But obviously, you said that they're gonna be hard to get, so I don't know. That's why I just don't like it. It's gonna be like only accessible to like a few people, or like I don't know. That's basically my whole concern with them. But yeah,
Mhm.
common is definitely way worse. I definitely don't want them ever being common. I think it'll just always be bad. But oh yeah, the other thing is swords like one tapping. Like I've seen some clips. I think that's like the worst thing ever, bro.
It's
Like
a
imagine you're
double
just in a team
strike.
fight.
It's something I know
Yeah.
Theo was looking into.
Yeah, I don't.
But
I
yeah,
don't
we're
think
aware.
it should be doing 10 hearts or anywhere near that. Maybe like I don't know, maybe like 8 hearts max, like with the most RNG proc ever.
It
you
is
know?
literally
I-
just double strike. I've seen the
Yeah.
clips. I'm sure Stevie is currently going to YouTube to get his clip because it's hilarious. Yeah, it's something we're aware of. So
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that needs to be fixed ASAP for next map. But yeah, those are like my concerns. White scrolls, KO middle, how KO is brought out, and yeah, just PvP as a whole.
I've seen Stevie's video. That's the one that I originally used to bring this up as an issue. I think I know what's happening there, but yes, need to do a little bit more to actually figure out if it's just that or if it's a whole bunch of things. But probably double strike interacting with some things it shouldn't be.
Oh wait, apparently there's a great clip. Can I even post it in here? Oh, I can't post it in here. It's unfortunate.
okay,
A
well,
one-shot clip.
Dre, you can
Yeah, I'm gonna
share
get
the
off.
clip from. Yeah. I'm gonna give you
Yeah,
the.
off stage.
Yeah. Really
Alright,
quick,
nice
just
sound though.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely. Really quick, gonna answer a couple of questions in chat here. My concern is the summoning circle. Where is it? Something I said, I'll repeat, is the summoning circle was obviously something which spawned on the island when it was loaded in. So before we had this idea fully thought out, we had a general idea of what we wanted to do with it, but we had it put on islands, start of the world, and then as the map kind of progressed to where we would have wanted to release this feature, we realized it wouldn't have been like a healthy thing to implement. And I'm not going to go into too much detail of what it was because you know there's still a potential we might implement it in the future. But it was something we just decided not to implement. We didn't want to force the update. There's something we potentially may be using it for map 6. No promises there. But if that is the case, it would be completely different functionality than we originally envisioned. But if we decide not to do that, then yeah, it's just it'll be removed going into the next map. Here, let's. Who have I not heard from? Zenith. I'll invite you up. I've heard too much from MGA today, so he can wait a little bit.
Okay, on to what like Stray said. I was gonna say, what are your thoughts of like just weapon white scrolls in general? Like just no armor, just pretty much keep your systems axe.
It's something we've talked about internally.
'Cause
I
then you
won't
would
give you a
still-
yes or a no, but just I'm aware of the idea, so potentially.
It's like my thinking behind it is about like, okay, yes, you get to keep your systems axe, like you still can grind, you can do everything, but you can PvP, you can lose your set, you can lose your sword, like all of that. But I mean, I guess technically you could white scroll your sword too, but just keeping that would
I mean-
be really good.
Yeah, I mean, just to
my
go on top of what Duel mentioned, like we have had these conversations. This is literally something that I mentioned to the team because I would prefer, in my eyes, like this is what it makes me think of. It makes me think of prisons, where on prisons you could white scroll your pick and you can go mine at Emmy, and even if you died, you didn't have to worry about losing your pick. That's kind of what this makes me think of with adventures. Is hey, I can white scroll my grinding weapon, whether it's an axe or a sword. I can go grind KO, and even if I can go in some demi set or trash set that allows me to still grind as efficient as possible, but I can still do that without having to worry about losing what I really value, which is the weapon itself. So we've had this conversation, like what, and again, I can't really speak on behalf of what that looks like going into map 6 right now because we haven't made a full determination of what we're going to do with that yet. So, have we had that conversation? Yes. Is something going to change like that before map 6? We'll see.
I mean, like, even if you wanted to get to the point of, I don't know how it would be implemented, but like literally just a system override white scroll. Or like maybe if you could like a white scroll enchants or certain to that fact of, so you're still losing stuff, but you can keep like, I don't know, your bleed 7, your over 6 system override, like just stuff like that.
I mean, once again, potentially. I don't like doing something like that because that system almost seems more niche, but just the idea of, I guess kind of modularizing white scrolls where you have like armor white scrolls, which we might decide not even to put into the eco, and then yeah, just weapon white scrolls. We've talked about it. We haven't made a final decision yet, but I understand the arguments for doing so.
Okay, then I have one more question. Are we looking for any changes about IS top changes? Are we sticking with the same system, or are we looking maybe at something new?
I'll tell you, regardless, it will still be like the overall trophy system. We're looking to add additions to that, though, and I won't go into too much detail of what exactly that is. But it won't be as, I guess, 2D linear as it's been in previous maps.
Yeah, because I don't know. I just think because like even like what happened with this map, like the IS top 1 was won like almost a month ago, I think. Like everyone knew who won, and it was just like I don't know. It was just it's like I don't know. It's the IS top is in like it's a weird place right now for like the very competitive islands, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why, like I said, I don't think the system in previous maps was perfect because it's been very... I think it was a cool system when we first introduced it, but it's become something where people learned how it works, and then it just got very, very, very boring. So we're looking to add just kind of more, a lot more mechanics to it, just so it's not as kind of boring as it's been previously. And I'm not going to go into detail of what exactly that is because there's a couple of things we might potentially do. We need to narrow that down. But yeah, there will be some sort of change.
And any thoughts on like making the amount of trophies you like receive like a static amount? So like to remove.
What? What do you mean?
Because like I know with like when you're doing trophies and shit, like doing different. Because I know it's mostly like crops heavy or anything like that. Is there any like to make it a static amount for multiple things across like your chain adventure or stuff like that, or just keeping it very heavy on like do crops?
Potentially. That's something we've spoken about, but potentially.
Yeah. Okay. That is all.
Cool.
Oh.
Next up, speak with Momika.
Okay. So my first question is about our island sizes getting smaller because I know they were like really big this map, and apparently it was causing issues maybe with lag, but I don't know.
I will say it won't be as small as they were last map, but we're 100% going to be cutting down on island size. So it'll still be larger than it originally was, but it doesn't need to be as ginormous as it is now. Because yeah, there were a couple of issues surrounding that.
Okay, cool. And then my next question is about more like the XP eco. I know this map, and I feel like the past few maps, XP is like really easy to get because from bots and just like dyers, it feels like the XP from mobs is so high and it's like effortless to get P4s and stuff. Like, is that being looked into, or you
Yeah,
guys,
so
like,
we're making a lot of changes to XP this map. First of all, it gets to the point late game where people don't even grind XP, it's all just automated. Like the bots you can place down holding up to like 25 million XP. That's definitely something which has been fairly heavily reduced. That as well as just how much XP people are earning from automation. And then there have been quite a number of changes to just like the apply cost for like different enchants, different books. So people are going to be getting a lot less XP and requiring a lot more XP.
Okay, and I think that's great because yeah, XP being good makes island grinding good. So nice. And then my last one's about adding TNT to the shop. I know this might be like a crazy take, but those huge islands that like are in the chunks take forever to break.
I think those islands are beautiful. One of them looks like a minion, as some of you noticed I observed. I think you should keep them and not destroy them.
Yeah, but how are you supposed to build a farm? Like, I need to build like a 45 layer farm, and they're taking up like half the chunk.
Okay.
I'll tell you, those islands are being audited going into the next map, so there may or may not be the same islands that there were last map. This map. Yay!
Okay. That's all I had. Thanks.
Also, hello. I'm here.
Hello. I am too in this episode. MGA, you've had your hand up for a while.
Why is Stray still on the call?
Is he?
Oh.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not good
Hello.
at this. Stray, can you step down? I don't know how to. Or Apple. Wait.
It's okay. I'll leave.
Oh, it's at the top. Okay. Wait, I got it.
Okay, so is island trophies gonna get changed for like mining, fishing, and other shit? So they are somewhat useful for islands instead of just doing crops all day long. Just mainly focusing on crops.
Like I said, we're looking to do some audits to trophies. I won't go exactly into what they are. But what are you referring to? Just like hypothetically, let's say Adventure 1, the highest crop I confirm is potatoes, and the highest fish I can catch is pufferfish. I don't know what it is, I'm just saying things. Are you saying they both give like the same XP to trophy ratio? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so maybe a bit less, but like them being worth doing, you know, or like.
I'll tell you, even if it was
more,
if it was a bit less, people still wouldn't do it.
I mean, fishing would need to give more. Let's say like manual fishing gives a lot more, and then the bots would give a lot less, you know? So it's like worth fishing, and like if you fish every day, you get like lead on fish, like highest top trophies. You get more trophies than if you were like farming, you know?
Yeah, I mean, potential. I've said potentially so many times to trophies. We have a couple of ideas in mind, and yeah, you'll see.
Okay.
Anything
what
else?
about? Yeah. Are we getting any new island upgrades? So like, or anything to like burn money? You know, there is so much money in eco, and nothing to spend it on.
There will be more stuff to burn money on, as well as not necessarily an island upgrade, but an entirely new system for islands.
Also, alliance upgrades would be nice, no? Same as we have for islands, get alliance upgrades.
Not start of the world, but I mean that I know that's an idea which has been toyed around with since Sky was brought back up.
Okay, and the last one, are we ever gonna get item flips, please?
You're an addict. Seek help.
Well, yes, I am, but you know, it's very nice.
There's phone numbers. You should call one. But yeah, I mean, I think item flips, I'm very 50-50 about it because obviously it's something people do right now regardless. I think implementing that system would prevent scams, but at the same time, it's still something we don't really want to encourage. So potentially in the future, just definitely not Start of World.
Yeah, I
50-50
mean, everyone
about
does
item
it. Either
flip.
they
Shut
do
up.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, either they get middlemen to like CF or they do one case anyways, but it would just prevent people getting scammed. That's like most like the main reason to get them, you know.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I agree there's pros and cons, but it's just not something we're rushing to implement.
Yeah, okay. That's it. Thank you for your time, dude.
Yep.
See ya.
Have a good one. Victorian.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what are your thoughts on people selling like coordinates to celestial mobs?
We actually, as we were talking about celestial mobs, that was something like talking about implementing them. That was an idea we had. That we want them to be valuable enough where even if you don't have access to the rank, you don't see it as a paywall. Because I don't think that's a fun system for anyone. It's not like you see it and it's like, oh, I wish I could grind this, and you don't get anything out of it. No, it's you see it and you can sell access to that celestial mob to someone who can use it. So I think it's a very good system.
Okay, I had an idea if you didn't like it, but no, that's fine. If you're happy the way it is, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I really like how anyone's able to benefit from it. So
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think that's all for me.
cool. Young Nutru. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but welcome to the stage.
Hello.
Hello.
Is there anything changed about adventures team fights?
Adventure what?
Team fights, like is something changed on the map or maybe on the loot, so people would fight more for better loot table.
I mean, I think the biggest changes with that is I already mentioned we are doing some pretty big adventure changes, at least the first adventure, where we're gonna have this much larger neutral zone. We're gonna have another chaotic zone. So I think that just having this different adventure map is gonna be like the biggest change we're making to that. And obviously, if we get positive feedback from that, that's when we can start to look at, okay, maybe we can add this to second adventure, maybe we can add it to third adventure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I understood. And also, are max +1 gems still going to be available in Celestial rank for mining?
Yeah, but what we are looking at is just the I think, and as Tater's already spoken about, the drop rate is actually fine from the Celestial rank. The issue we experienced last map was a combination of the admin tools and all of the other abilities which helped increase gem fund for players, which that is something we're taking a look at. Additionally, there is just going to be the requirement of, in order to apply a +1 gem, I need to already have the max gem on the gear. So to apply Overload 4, I need to already have Overload 3 applied to my piece.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. I think
Mhm.
yeah, it's really good. You should like make that happen.
That it will. Any other questions though?
No, that's it. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Alright, you too. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Park Attack. And yes, that should not apply to Mythic Enchant. So System 6 is still its own thing. Perk Attack, I invited you to the stage. Are you here? In the meantime, thoughts on combining lower tier gems to make them useful? I just don't feel like that would be like a fun mechanic for players. I think right now it's just you kind of tinker any gem which isn't max level, or at least like right below that, which I think it's a good system. I think making it so players feel as though they kind of have to hold on to these lower tier gems and combine them, and it's a whole chore, that just doesn't really sound enjoyable. We have a note for that, Ninja. Slim, I guess you're gonna have to say. Alright, Park definitely isn't here. Stray, welcome back to the stage.
I was gonna ask about the muley system. I feel like it's, I don't know, kind of bad. Like whatever.
Kind of bad as in
yeah.
it's pretty overpowered. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I was wondering if
yeah.
any changes for that, because I don't know. I feel like making it cost XP to mule, because like I don't know, I never get anything off a kill, or like even last year never got anything off a kill. And now since Celestial has I don't know, has perks to slash mule as well, I just think it's really bad. I don't know. You never
Yeah,
get
and
anything off kill nowadays.
I've heard all the suggestions surrounding that, as well as making it just so neutral players drop more items. I don't disagree. I think at least in terms of like the XP requirement for muling, I would want to see kind of what the XP eco looks like start of the world with the other changes we're making, and then I don't really have any objections to that, but would need to talk to the team. As for neutral players losing more items, once again, we've made a lot of changes to neutral, the neutral map. I would kind of see what that looks like before making any changes to like the amount of items players are dropping. But that would also be a fairly easy change for us to make, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to see that changed at least. Like just the whole neutral dropping stuff and the mule system. Like I feel like you should not be able to mule in combat. Like I don't know. I feel like that's so broken. Like there's no way to KB somebody out of the mule, and they're just hugging a wall, and you just can't do anything about it. They're not gonna take enough damage to die even. So they put their stuff in and they're fine. And even before then, even before you can get to them, they still have access to Mueller stuff when they get something good. I feel like it should just cost something at least. I don't know. Like I feel like a good way was just with XP, so XP has some value again.
I mean, I 100% agree players shouldn't be able to mule in combat. Actually, if Theo or Apple, one of you could make a note of that, because I'm recording.
Yeah.
But.
And I also feel like you should just be able to, it should cost something as well to hit a slash mule. If you're muling something really good out, it shouldn't be free.
Yeah, like I said, no objection there, but I would want to see what the XP eco looks like first. So not a week 1 thing, or I guess not a week 0 thing, but potentially for week 1. We can take a look into that. Yeah. Anything else?
Right, sounds good. Nope, that's it.
Cool. I don't meet up again. Had to give him the boot this time. Momika.
Okay, I may be dumb, but I don't know if this was ever changed. But I swear when I tried out Super Breaker at the beginning of the map, it gave the same haste level as like haste. So like haste 3 gave haste 3, Super Breaker 3 gave haste 3 as well, but for a short time. I don't know if that's how it works, or if that got changed, or it was planning to change, but I always thought Super Breaker was like potentially the most useless enchant ever.
Not as far as I know. I'm pretty sure it uses its own system, but if someone can make a note of that, could definitely take a look.
Alright, cool.
Yeah. Robo Ninja.
Hello. My question is, are Mythic Enchants going to be Adventure Lock next season? Because I feel like they're a bit too broken. Like, for example, this entire season, I'll just have like one piece of Iron Gear with every single enchant on it of Oblivion 4, but going to Diamond KO. Because there wasn't a reason for me to switch.
I won't go into... Apple, do you want to answer?
Iron
Oh.
Adventure comes out like a week or two into the map. If there was going to be any gear locks like that, it would be announced closer to then, probably, if it's not in the patch notes.
All right.
But if something's
Yeah, that's
happening
my
and you don't see
question.
the patch notes, it could be then.
That's cool. Thank you.
Unique.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
So the Auto Tinkerer for books, is there going to be a gem equivalent for this? Because sorting through stacks of gems and double chest and everything else to go through Tinkerer can just be a ton of time.
Maybe.
So yes.
Maybe. Potentially. Is that something you would want to see?
Yes, it's a huge time saver, and I could probably speak for a lot of people that it is a lot of people that would like that.
Okay. Well, yes, that may or may not be happening.
Cool. So yes, thank you.
Alrighty. Anything else? Oh, or not. Oh god, IGN email. And
Thanks,
high ups
Andrew.
here. Okay. What's
So,
up?
so I'm sorry if it's already been talked about because I just came home. White Scrolls.
Have been talked
Will you
about.
do anything? Yeah. Will you do anything at all?
I mean, what I'll say is like after this Q&A, the entire thing will be uploaded, and if you want to listen to that, you can. But just very, very brief. We are looking into a couple of different things with those. Regardless of what we do, they will 1,000% be a lot more rare than they were this map. So yeah.
So there's no chance of them getting removed or nerfed. Like hugely nerfed.
I'm not gonna. We had to talk about this for about 20 minutes.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
want to repeat that whole
I'll
thing.
watch the video. I'll watch the video. That's all. That's all for me.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
No worries. It's not a Q&A without I'm high up. How are you doing?
Yo, I'm on the main stage.
Yeah.
What's up, chat? How we doing?
Just hit the what's up chat. Any question?
All
High
right,
up?
buddy, calm down. Buddy, calm down. I'm talking here, not you. Okay, calm down. What's up,
I
chat?
don't know
How's
about
everyone
that.
doing?
Alright, high up, do you have a question?
I do have a question.
Yep.
Give me a minute. I had a list. Give me 1 second. I'll pick one. Alright, how does the infinite water bucket work?
How would you expect it to work?
I'm asking you.
So you right click, and it has more water in it because it's infinite. So then you use it again, but there's still water in it because it's infinite. So it's like
Yo, wait,
a water
actually,
bucket.
That's how you use it?
Yeah, but it's like infinite. Does that make sense?
Shit. Oh shit, okay.
Yeah. If it's infinite, how many times can you use it? 1,000.
It's only 1,000 times, right?
No, it's infinite. Okay. Well,
But we also are playing Cosmic here, so Cosmic. We say infinite, but it means like 1,000. 1,500, like around there.
alright. Anything else, Hyatt?
Nah, buddy, I'm good. Have a good one, guys.
Alright, you have a good one. How many uses does the infinite water bucket have? Okay. Dragster King, what's up?
Hello. I just have a quick question. Is there any chance or idea of a fast place feature being implemented? So, example, like if you're on your island building new farms, you could type a command like fast place 32 or something to make for it to place 32 blocks with the one click rather than just.
I mean, just like a
sitting there
builder's
on islands
wand,
spamming.
essentially.
Yeah, pretty much, because building farms takes so much, and you do so many of them throughout the whole season. Never mind when you need to take them down and everything like that. It would be a massive help to the island builders to help even people who are far behind progress
Yeah, it's something we talked about. Unfortunately, it would just be like a very buggy thing to do. So, I mean, there's definitely a chance in the future we could invest some time into something like that. But for now, we're kind of just looking to do like the easy solutions. So, like as you can see, we already put farmland in the shop. We have the infinite water bucket, which some people didn't get sarcasm. It is clearly infinite. There is no like 1,000 uses to that. So, but yeah, just things like that to make the farm building, the island building process a lot more easy. So
yeah, sounds good. And I've also heard across multiple seasons that placing water doesn't actually do anything for your farms. Does it actually or not?
That is an amazing question. I want to say it does, but that would be incredibly old code from whenever Sky came out. I don't think that system would have changed from what it used to be on old Sky, and I would not be the person to ask about that. So,
yeah,
we just need to test it.
Depends on the crops. If it's like a
Sorry,
custom coated crop that doesn't grow naturally, like bamboo and whatnot, of course it won't work. But if it's like a vanilla crop like wheat, where it does naturally grow faster, if it's got the water saturation, then I think it grows faster from what I've seen. But you have to find out.
All right, sounds good. Thanks. That was it.
Really quick, I'll answer this. Are we getting any new pets next season or new masks other than Emperor Equivalent? As for masks, no plans right now, but there definitely will be some form of pet revamp. And I will say that does include the Slayer Sam, because dude was gross. MGA, I'll invite you back up to the stage. And just a shout for you guys, I will be closing down hand raising in about 3 minutes here. So if you do have any questions, make sure to put your hand up before then.
Yeah, so I saw nobody had hand up, so I just wanted to ask how many brain cells does I'm high up have, to be honest. Like legit question.
0, 0, 2. Okay, well, there's your answer. Average it out.
Yep. Yeah, that was my question.
Alright. High up. I hope you actually have a question this time.
Nah, I should do. Yo, number one, why am I getting slandered? Relax, calm down.
Okay, what's your second question?
But my main question is, I think this is maybe more for Apple, but have you guys like I asked this I think last Q&A too, but have you guys actually like developed like a fucking what's it called? Oh my god, like a
No,
map?
I don't think we have a what's it? Oh my god.
Buddy, I can't even hear you, dude. Like, go closer to your mic.
Huh?
I have you at 200.
Have you developed what?
Have you developed like a game plan almost like a? Oh, dude, what are those maps called?
Roadmap?
Yeah, roadmap. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna go too into details on what the plan is, but there are some plans that we have for things. But
is there something like you could like
Nope.
None of that.
Nope.
We're just running on level updates at a time.
We've got some things in the works of this season, and of course, we are planning for future seasons as well.
Okay. Yo, Apple is gatekeeping, guys. It's okay, chat.
I'm not
maybe next
I am
time.
The gate.
What's up, buddy?
I am the gate.
Okay,
Yo, dog, you ain't no gate.
I'm getting tired of listening to high up. IGN emote.
Yo, I'm back. Again, just briefly, please, because I wasn't there earlier. Any changes to PvP or PvE that you can tell us?
Biggest changes that I'd be willing to talk about right now is just the changes we've made to the Adventure 1 map, that being there is a much larger middle with like a pretty large tunnel system, and then there is another chaotic corner which is above ground.
Okay, is the underground one still there?
Yes. So there's a chaotic corner
Alright.
in each corner other than where you spawn in.
Okay. And any changes to neutral? We've been talking. I feel like the neutral curse more like punishes PvP than like encourages it in neutral, which I feel like it should encourage.
Yeah,
If I'm
we
not wrong.
we just briefly talked about I mean, I think there's a lot of overlap. The mule system, and then just the amount of people, or the amount of drops neutral players are dropping on death. It definitely is something we can look into. I don't know if we're gonna really be making any changes start of the world, just because we are already, we are already making changes to neutral just with the map, and we're making changes to XP. So I don't really want to mess with mules if we do something with like. There's an XP cost to use that. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to be making any changes start of the world, but it's definitely something we can look into, like week 1, week 2, potentially.
Yes, because some like buffs, like if you have 2 neutral curses, you like drop 10% more items or something like that. Would be nice.
Mhm.
So it would actually like make people want to fight neutral and actually gain something from it, other than just being kittens killing people for no reason at all.
Yeah, no, I get that. Cool. Anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Cool. No worries. And I did forget, but 10 seconds. I am about to close the requesting to speak. So if anyone has any other question, make sure to put your hand up. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Miracel, I've invited you to the call.
Hello?
Hello, hello.
Is there any thoughts about a /summary command to instantly trigger the island summary? Because currently you have to wait a full hour without doing anything on the account for it to show up.
Is it a full hour? I don't. I mean, that's
It is
definitely
a full hour.
something. It's definitely something we can adjust. Yeah. I mean, the way it works currently is it's just based off of from the time you went AFK to the time you return, or the time you leave the island to the time you return. So I don't know how a command would necessarily function, like what that would be based off of. But I think we definitely could lower that time, because I didn't realize it was an hour.
I think, I guess that makes sense. I thought a way that it might be implemented is that /summary just gives you the summary since the last time a summary was given to you. But I understand that it's implemented a different way currently, so it might be difficult.
Yep. Yep, I mean, I would be fine with just lowering that timer. I mean, I think, yeah, like 15, 30 minutes, something like that would work without being too spammy. So, can definitely look into that.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. And then, not too many people put their hand up. So, after I answer Big Joe, who I've invited to the stage now, I'll be answering just a couple of questions in chat.
Yeah, you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, I only have a few questions. Are there any recipe changes going into map 6?
There will be, yes.
As in, like, new recipes, or no?
Potentially. I'll
How
tell
about
you, it will
software?
not be a full overhaul like you saw going from map 4 to map 5. The recipes you saw last map will still be there, but there will be balancing changes, and potentially, yeah, there will also be new recipes added.
Will there be any obvious, like, nerfs to certain recipes, or can that not be disclosed right now?
I mean, if it was way too OP this map, yeah, I expect a nerf. I mean, the one I'll just say, because I think people are expecting it, there will be audits to the Moon Pie.
Okay. Is the infinite bucket going to be in the first stage of the science shop? Assuming it's in the science shop.
Who knows?
Okay, my last question is: will bots be added to the summary, as in like when they run out of fuel and people to notice for like hours, especially if you're on a top island?
It's actually not a bad shout. Yeah, once again, Theo or Apple, if you could make a note of that. I think it would be cool to have just some sort of alert if, I mean, make it like toggleable, but yeah. Definitely would be nice to have.
All right,
An alert for what? Sorry.
Just an alert if you're on one of the islands you're on, if it runs out of, a bot runs out of fuel. and just add a toggle for it.
Sure.
Thank you, thank you. Are recipes
so I
staying the
have-
same? No. Yeah, no worries. I will now open up the, well, not open up the call, but I'll now be reading any questions in chat. Can you make the bots being out of fuel show up in the /bots GUI? At Theo, if you could make a note of that, I don't object to that. Can we make a toggle for IS tools to not instantly tear up just because you have the map? IPVP, I absolutely hate that mechanic, and I will tell you it will not exist going into map 6. Any influence on IS top from Koth or Bosses map 6? Just gonna have to find out. Are we getting new PvE or PvP enchants? Not for release, but I'm sure we'll do something throughout like the duration of map 6. We always like adding a bunch of enchants. It's a fun, easy thing to do. Speaking about bots, will there be an unbundler ever added for people that save bots? I had that discussion. I think it's it would definitely be a cool thing to add. I like the idea of adding modules to the utility bots. But it wouldn't be something we're doing early game. Obviously, people not really getting those until like Demonic. So could take a look at that then. Taco, not necessarily. Did you say you hate PvP? I don't think I did. I hate the current state of PvP. I think it needs a lot of improvements, but I think we're moving in the right direction. But the idea of PvP I like. Miracell, I don't know. Getting proper updates and changelogs and loot table reworks that Apple used to post. Are you just saying just like adventure loot tables? Yeah, typically we don't do that for like if we're this week we added white scrolls and then we put white scrolls in the post. Just stuff like that. It's not necessarily needed. But if we're just like middle of the week, okay, we don't like the drop rate on this item, or we're adding this item to a table, that's when we'll typically do those change logs. You just haven't seen as many because we haven't been making as many adventure table audits. We need fuel bundles to be used in bots, please. Not a bad idea. Could also be a cool like megabot upgrade. Can we get satchels? Dust or seed satchel? Seed satchel is... See, I like the idea of players being able to compact items. I think those are really weird two things to suggest. Potentially, like the idea of people being able to stack a dust onto one item. Yeah. Seeds, I get people have a lot of them. I don't think you really need a satchel for them. But more so just like drops you get on islands. So like not seeds, but like harvested crops, fish, stuff like that. I like the potential idea for that, but it's not anything we're rushing to do. Too much true damage. Yeah, I mean, we're looking into that, especially Double Strike. Double Strike is way too strong at the moment. As in when crops were changed, nothing was posted? What, like in between maps? So what are you referring to? Can we play around with filters, pick up 5% dust, but not like 1% dust? Would not be as easy of a thing to implement, unfortunately. Unbundle bot. I wouldn't want it to be a separate bot, but yeah, I like the idea of it being some sort of module. Are we getting island masteries? What would that be? Was that like a system on Old Sky? If so, I'm not familiar. Can we get island prestige levels? That would be like a mid to late map update, if anything. But I don't know. I would need to hear what that consists of. Make a suggestion. Can we try adventure upgrades? Adventure upgrades are already a thing, unless you mean adventure levels, but that's a different mechanic. Are adventure levels going to be real or never? Potentially. Can we audit what's considered a PvP gem? There are a bunch that I think should be considered PvP and PvE. We, every now and then, like, we'll do large enchant audits, like looking through just every gem. Do we think it's used? Does it need a buff, nerf, whatever? And I'm sure, like, next time we do that, we can take a look at, what's considered PvE, what's PvP. Don't mess with Double Strike, it's fine. No, it's not. Can we just award Slim Momika Ice Top 1 for next map and ban them so we can have some fun? Don't know about that one. Hopper filters. I mean, you can just do that with vanilla. But I mean, it's always something you can, but we could potentially add to science. But yeah, just do redstone. 30s top threads removed about changes should be implemented. What's that in reference to? Oh, masteries. I don't know. I need to look more into it. Lockboxes, I really like them on prisons. I just don't know how they would be implemented on here. We were kind of looking into, I mean, just in general on Sky to implement in so many different places, like the tutorial, like the clue scroll, stuff like that. Just different, like, quote-unquote quests you can do on Sky. And I just feel like at the moment we're very limited in the content which could be included there. Because we have Adventure, we have Island. I just don't know what else we could really implement that would be, like, a diverse activity and fun. So, I don't know. Adventure upgrades, like certain skills in each area per adventure. So like, yeah. Maybe. Our recipe is going to be the same as last map where you need tier 1 for majority. There will be some audits, but overall it'll be the same system. Yes, Clayton. Anything important I missed? We've been going for 2 hours and 55 seconds. So I'm sure you have. This will be uploaded after the Q&A. I'll go for about like 5 more minutes, by the way, answering these questions. Can we slow down Yajiki? Skill issue? No, but make like make a bug report or suggestion if it is not working as it should. Can I get gift perms back? No. Is the summoning circle going to be used next map? I mentioned this earlier. Its original functionality we decided not to do. It might, and I mean maybe because we haven't fully finalized, it might be used for something else next map, but if we do decide to do that, it'll be a completely different functionality than we originally intended. But just assume no. Just pot for real and double strike isn't an issue? Yeah, well... Did we ask for Island Treasure revamp, lads? I can confirm there is an Island Treasure revamp. Tato was talking about this earlier. Are Ender Pearls being removed next map? The poll did decide to remove them. Tato just pitched another idea earlier where it's just like they'll be obtainable from Science Shop 1, just limited to like 1 or 2 uses and it scales up. We need to talk about it internally, but I'll tell you regardless, it'll not be the same as it was this map. New Adventure 1 map, yes there is. And what was system being nerfed or unspecified? I mean, I'll tell you it'll be a lot more rare than it was this map. How does one get Cosmo? I don't know. Give good input. I don't know. There is no dedicated way to get it. It's just an admin has to give it to you if we see you've been Cosmonaut worthy within the community. Anything about working with fire aspect with Slayer bots to auto cook? That's an interesting idea. Sounds like a module to me. I actually like that. Islands with less members gain more XP or something to promote working in smaller groups. That can really easily be abused, unfortunately not. Make loot tables for boss visible, please. Definitely gonna look to do that either just for bosses or just making other loot tables more easy to see because we don't really have that at the moment. New bosses with the armor trims we talked about. I don't know. Can Clue Scrolls give you only what you have unlocked for your island? There's no easy way to do that, unfortunately, because it's an item. It's not necessarily bound to an island. Emo, am I Cosmonaut worthy? Are you Cosmonaut? That shouldn't answer your question. Baby bot modules? No, absolutely not. Well, I think I'm all caught up. Really quick, just any last questions? If not, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Team Area, we have a couple of different ideas with that. I won't go into details because right now it's just a couple of different ideas, but something will happen. What did you say? I missed it. Can I get gift perms when I win next map? No. Should I focus Island Quest or Adventure Grinding? That is up to you. Mythic Loot is ass. Tater talked about that. More than likely going to be making it a lot harder to get Mythic Loot, and then the Mythic Loot's a lot better. Is there going to be another Q&A, or is this the only one? Nothing else has been scheduled yet, which is why I kind of wanted to take over and just give you guys a little bit of a Q&A. But there's still potentially... Obviously, we're going to be very busy this next week, but potentially might fit something in. If not, my mic... Oh, my mic is being... Ugh. Okay. I'll assume it fixed itself. It probably didn't. But, yeah, we can look to do something early next map. Alright, but yeah, if my mic is dying, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Apple, Theo, don't know if y'all have anything to say, but, yeah. Definitely, like I said, whether it be before next map or early next map, I'll definitely be looking to do another one of these soon. Alrighty. And yeah, I'll be uploading this to YouTube in case you guys missed any of it. Yippee! Yippee! Okay, have fun. Apple, actually forget how to end the Q&A if you could do that. Alright, thank you. Bye.